The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots. Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Nicky Spagnola.
It's time for our heavy lifting day here on Mick Shots inside the SWBC podcast studio at the Star in Frisco as the Cowboys are coming off the practice field as we speak. Getting ready to address the media would be one Dak Prescott, I assume, very shortly.
I would assume.
And we are here to break it all down with, of course, some breaking news today that we will get to very quickly. In fact, right off the top, if Mickey wants to. Mickey?
Over to you, Mick.
If it's not one thing, it's another with this team.
Oh, very good. All right. Yes. And when it rains, it pours. Mm-hmm. So now, not only did the Cowboys have to find a kicker to replace Greg Zuerlein on COVID reserve right now, they find out that little limitation yesterday in practice with Randy Gregory with his calf muscle is now a multiple-week injury. Mm-hmm. And I would think when you say multiple weeks, that means no Sunday, probably not the Sunday after that, and
Kansas
then
City.
with the short week for Thanksgiving, certainly not for Thanksgiving either. So they're probably going to have to play 3 games now without either of their starting defensive ends.
And they got a Thursday game the week after Thanksgiving,
That's right.
too.
So there's not a long break. Now, maybe he can get back for that. It sounded like his calf strain was closer to the degree of Dak's than it was to Michael Gallup's.
Okay.
So
how long did it take between games for Dak?
3 weeks. Yep.
All right. We are Thursday. It happened Wednesday in practice.
Right.
So next Wednesday's 1 week.
Yes.
The day before Thanksgiving is 2 weeks. And the day before the New Orleans game is 3 weeks.
So probably after that 10-day break.
So you're thinking we're just on the
second
fly
week
here.
in December?
That means 4 games.
That means he's ready for the run.
Yes.
Because that's when we'll have to make
Got
a run.
5 games left after that.
And I'll tell you what, now, I'm not sure when DeMarcus Lawrence can get back, but just watching his rehab and how he's running, he's got to be close. And again, you know, everybody's...
Once again, what's his injury?
He fractured his 5th metatarsal.
There you go.
So that's usually a 4 to 6 week injury. I told you the story about mine, and they told me 2 months, and then I said, okay, my 2 months are up, and they said, okay, now a month of rehab. And I said, wait a minute, you said 2 months. But he had surgery, right? They put a screw in there to facilitate the healing.
And he's 40 years younger than you.
Yeah, and he...
Well, at the time, the Spags
no,
hurt
wait a minute.
himself. He
No,
wasn't 40
I hurt
yet.
myself 20 years
See
ago.
there.
Oh,
Thank
it
you.
was
See,
20
I got
years
your
ago.
back,
I
Spags.
was young.
I got your back, Spags.
I'm sorry.
He was young.
I was young.
He was
back
40.
then.
Yeah.
No, he would have been 50.
I'm sorry.
So we'll see when he's back. So it's not this week, obviously. And then I can't imagine it's next week and then a short week. So maybe New Orleans.
So we're going to put him out another 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And even if he comes back, you got to think that it's going to be difficult, to
Right.
follow it up with the
Because you
consecutive
know
weeks.
what they want to do is practice him a week and then practice the next week for a game.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's problematic since Randy Gregory's tied for the lead with 5 sacks. It's going to mess up my projection of him getting double-digit sacks when he had 5 halfway through.
Well, if he comes back for the last 5
man.
games, he
5
just
games,
needs to
sack a
average
game.
a sack
Just
again.
don't. This
Yeah,
boy's
let's
going to
go.
be so ready when he gets back, and he's going to be mad. You know he plays better when he's mad.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's one that they're going to have to compensate for. Obviously, Mike McCarthy didn't want to spill the beans on what they're going to do, but he did mention, some guys are going to have in the rotation going to have to take up some snaps, and then he mentioned Dorrance. So I would imagine Dorrance Armstrong.
That's what I had written down.
Is
right
probably
away.
one of the guys that has to step up. Basham needs to step up.
Yep.
Goldston needs a better game than this last one, and I would imagine they'll use a practice squad call-up on Bradley and I.
He's back.
So right. And you also
we all forget about the look that Coach gave him.
Yeah,
when he came
right.
back to
And
the
he
sideline.
and he was asked about Anai. I think Brad Sham asked him in the press conference, and he immediately started talking about his special team stuff, and he didn't say anything about playing defensive end. And then he said, and he just needs to cut down on his mistakes. So
Well, we saw he's quick
course.
off the snap on special teams.
Yes, right. So that offsides on that punt still sticking in somebody's throat, right?
Too,
yeah. And then remember, you've got Micah Parsons.
That's what I was
that
at.
you can use in spot situations at defensive end. I still don't think you want to have him out there 50 snaps against some offensive tackle.
It's going to depend on the package,
right?
Like you said,
and move him
downs,
around.
First downs
I still like
different.
him, rushing from the middle the way he has. Plus, they've got a tight end this week that they need to take care of too. Oh, by the way, so I think it'll be all hands on deck at defensive end. And even, defensive tackle now. Quentin Bohanna missed practice today with an illness, non-COVID. You always have to specify that. So, Basham could move inside. They've got Hamilton. They've got Watkins. So we'll see where that one goes. Also missing today was Corey Clement, the running back, non-COVID, but it was an illness.
Well, that was yesterday's practice.
And he missed again today.
Okay, so 2 in a row.
So I saw in practice when they were doing position stuff, it looked like, if they need a third running back, Jaquan Hardy is on the practice squad. So that's a possibility if he doesn't get back. Cedric Wilson missed practice again with a shoulder. Although he was out there running, doing rehab, so we'll see where he's able to go. So that's kind of the entire list. And then Tyron Smith, by the way, not to bury the lead, missed again. McCarthy said he's progressing. I think he spent the day rehabbing. Also, so yesterday, Brian Anger and Jake McQuaid, they held him out of practice out of abundance of caution because they weren't sure about close contact with Zerline.
Gotcha.
But they were back in practice. Today. It looked like Ezekiel Elliott was doing fine. He was moving around. They had him listed as limited. Amari Cooper limited, but that was kind of by design. And then. And I mentioned the other guys. So Tyron Smith, it looks like just the way they were lining up yesterday, they were going to do it again today with Terrence Steele left and Lale Collins to the right. And then they got to get Ty Nsekhe ready. He's the swing guy now, and if Steele struggles, maybe you have to get him in there somehow.
He can't struggle that much.
Right?
If he struggles that much, then we are definitely in trouble.
Yes. Or you better put that tight end over there.
Yes.
By the way.
And to me, I think they should start off like that, Spaz.
I think so,
They should just play the game like that. And I know we talked about they did a little bit in Tampa. Let's just continue with that. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves right now. Go back to the basics. Someone asked me, I don't know if it was you. You asked me about how do you get back to it. You got to get back to the basics, man. Go back to the week one, understand where you are. And now, as much as our differences have been blasted out there amongst the public, let's just go ahead and own up to it and continue with what we're doing.
How many practices did Terrence Steele have at left tackle before he made that start, as far as in the regular season?
3.
And
well, no, regular season,
right?
Because he did it in training camp.
I'm talking in the regular season, meaning last week
for a game.
And remember, they were coming off the Sunday night game. They had a shorter practice on Wednesday. They had the regular long practice on Thursday. They don't on Friday. They rejuvenation Friday, and then the Saturday before the game.
Exactly.
Who knows how much they do?
And that's a less physical practice.
Mm-hmm. So there really was one full practice where he was playing left tackle. And so I think when Mike McCarthy says, let's give it more reps, I think that's what he's referring to. Now you can have more focused. We know what the issues are. He may have improved as the game went on. I don't know. Mm-hmm. He admitted after the game that it was a little more than he struggled with it more than he anticipated. But it doesn't mean that it's not correctable as far as being able to.
Maybe some technique stuff.
Right.
That because when he was getting beat, it looked like he was getting beat to the outside. So you got to remember when you're on the right side, you're punching with your right hand. When you're on the left, you got to punch with your left hand. And you got to get off the snap. You got to have some rhythm over there also. So we'll see, because I think in this game, I think you can run on the Falcons. And that was what hurt them this past game. They needed to run the ball more effectively, and they didn't do it.
How much did Zeke average? It's 5 yards a carry.
Yeah, but they didn't. They get behind
10 carry. Yeah, you get behind 16-0, and now you by necessity
just
you're
like last year.
You're not exactly. Yeah. That's right.
So all this. BS about, we got the blueprint out there for you.
Yeah. Now, the week before, Zeke only averaged, I think, 3 yards a carry. But this week, he averaged 5 yards a carry.
Right.
And so it wasn't like they weren't able to run the ball. It was just the way the game played out. Yeah, the way the game played out.
And when you don't pick up 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 and 2, you don't extend – because they didn't have that many snaps.
Well, you're down 16-0, and – you're in your 2-minute offense to end the half, okay? And then you don't get the blocked punt to start the third quarter, and so when you get the ball in the third quarter, now you're down 19-0, right. And it's because
you're in the middle of the third.
And
exactly. It's not 13 minutes left in the third; it's 8 minutes left.
And they only had the ball for 18 minutes. Remember?
Right.
We went over that. So their total plays in this game against Denver was 57. That was one more than the previous low of 56 against Carolina.
So when Vic Fangio talks about not blitzing, going with a 4-man rush, and other teams weren't playing the Cowboys the other teams weren't playing the Cowboys with Terrence Steele at left tackle and Lyle Collins playing his second game in the last 2 years.
And they also weren't playing.
So if I was putting a defensive game plan in again, I know nothing against the Cowboys, I would have not blitzed and see what these tackles can do,
Right. Yeah, and they didn't hold up as well as they needed to. And the other thing is now you've got an offense with a lead, so the defense is sitting there going, okay, let's not just give up anything big, right? And they're going to have to grind down the field on us.
That's what I was going to ask about the Falcons. They can, they maybe could run on us. That's what I was thinking. What is their running game like? Because they've had this newfound success, and depending on what your response is, then you're talking about taking linebackers, possibly moving them to the outside on the defensive line. Correct? I mean, sometimes you're going to be left with packages in that manner. And then to cover up for those linebackers that you're going to have to put down on the front line, now you've got big safeties, Keanu Neal, you've got Jaron. These guys can fill in at the linebacker position. If they can't run the ball well, then we might just go in with a big dime or some type of nickel.
And they are 29th in the league in rushing. Mike Davis is their main guy.
They don't want to run the ball.
Cordero Patterson, they've actually used him better than anybody previously in his career has used him. As they're using him both as a running back and as a receiver, and he's been very effective.
He's been very effective. But they're only averaging 3.4 yards a carry He's averaging 3.8 and Davis 3.2.
What it does is it creates mismatches.
It creates mismatch because you don't know if he's going to be a running back or if he's going to be a wide receiver.
Right. And that's why we should have that big nickel in.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Right.
And you're going to need that anyway to deal with Pitts.
Of course.
But they only have 4 rushing. They don't want to run the ball. Matty Ice.
That plays into our hands.
He's going to throw the ball.
That plays
40 times.
into our hands. That
Right.
really does.
That's right.
The fact that they were going to try to come out throwing the ball, not just that Denver didn't throw the ball, but they didn't come out throwing it. Their main cornerstone was running the ball this game. The passing came afterwards.
That's right.
Yeah,
but
Atlanta's going to come in totally different.
Yeah, with Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, and with
That's the horses they rode.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they had 3 offensive linemen that were out. One thing about the Falcons that I think is the envy of basically every team in the league, I went through their offensive line snaps. Their starters have missed 1 game on the offensive line.
Continuity.
Yeah, and they've got 3 former first-round draft picks on their offensive line. And even, I don't know what they're rated.
Why wouldn't they run the ball more then? I mean, it's especially not Matty Ice is cool, but Matty Ice
think about
Matty
this.
Ice no more. I don't know
Think,
how the hell he got
think
that
about
nickname
this.
anyway,
Arthur Smith is their head coach, and where did he come from? The Tennessee Titans.
Wow, that's crazy. I know he's like, we're gonna run the ball.
He's averaging.
He doesn't have Derrick Henry, and so he's.
Matt Ryan's averaging 38 pass attempts a game.
That's a lot. Woo, that's a lot.
And they've only run the ball 190 times. So what is
by
that?
8.
Like 220 222 maybe a game. Yeah. So they want to throw the football.
Mm-hmm.
You think they'll change their approach considering what they saw from Denver?
Can they?
Yeah, they might want to.
They might
can
want
they?
to, but
Yes.
can they?
Who's
Yeah.
the running back?
Mike Davis.
Mike Davis and Cordero Patterson.
Well, besides, Patterson. Yeah, but
And he's only averaging 3.2 a carry, by the way.
okay. So,
And
do the Cowboys? How do you do this? I mean, considering what Denver did, they came in heavy underdogs. You know, we're feeling good, chests all puffed out. We didn't think we knew they'd try and run the ball on us if they were going to be successful. So now, do we come in thinking, well, they're going to change, so we're going to change. So we're going to come in with our heavy run defense. Are we going to be that silly? Are we going to be that gullible?
Get this. Last week against New Orleans, Mike Davis had 9 carries for 13 yards, and Patterson had 9 carries for 10 yards. Okay. Patterson had 6 catches for 126 yards. And in fact, Isaiah Stanback just did a little telestrator segment from that game, and which you'll be able to see on the Mike McCarthy Show
sir.
and
Yes,
elsewhere
sir.
here on DallasCowboys.com. But he illustrated a play where they had Patterson. We talked about the matchups. They had Patterson lining up as a wide receiver. They went empty, and a linebacker, Quan Alexander, had to guard Cordero Patterson split out wide to the right side. He ran a little sluggo route and beat him deep. And so that's the kind of stuff that they try to do.
And this is what I'm talking about with Michael Parsons, because I'm sure there'll be moments that they're going to try and isolate him. Now, you can run a 4-3, whatever, all you want. But when you have to get out there and cover, backpedal,
like
jam,
a cornerback,
use hands and feet at the same time, turning your hips to go, planning to stop. I mean, I get it. He's a heck of an athlete, but that's how he does when it comes to playing against the run. When you're going backwards, that takes a different type of skill.
Quan Alexander is a very athletic linebacker, and he got beat on that play. And now with the Cowboys' need at defensive end, with Gregory out, it makes you wonder. Okay, maybe the most effective place to put Parsons is as an edge rusher, and then you use
passing down,
Keanu Neal, and without the run threat that other teams might have. Mickey doesn't like that idea. Jaron Kearse is another.
I want him at linebacker.
I think in certain situations, especially obvious passing downs, I want him at end. Obvious passing downs.
Okay,
we get a lead,
here's my question. Who do you want in that situation? Who do you want out on Patterson if they go empty and they put Patterson flanked out to the?
Well, no, I'm not worried about Patterson as much as I'm worried about
Pitts.
Kyle Pitts.
Okay, that's the
because
other
they're
thing.
going to line him up outside like a
J-Ron Curse is going to have
Well,
to
New
guard.
Orleans thought the same thing, and then Patterson beat Quan Alexander for a
That's why
50-yard bomb.
That's why your
so
matchup.
what do you?
You got to have two people to cover two amazing people.
You better get a pass.
So you got Curse.
You better get a pass rush.
So you got Curse on Pitts.
I do.
Trayvon Diggs.
No.
If he lines up as a wide receiver.
I'm talking Pitts lines up as a tight end.
Oh, he's not going to line up as a tight end.
As a in the slot.
He's going to be off the line of scrimmage.
Okay, Pitts line. I'm just saying Pitts lines up as a slot because he is a tight end, and I mean he's quote unquote a tight end. They have other wide receivers.
I'm with you, Bill. I know where you're going.
And then Patterson's your running back, but they go empty and they put Patterson outside.
Mm-hmm.
So what matchups do you like?
Whoever's further outside, my cornerback gets him.
Okay.
So you don't want to follow anyone.
No, I don't think
you
I
don't wanna
have
follow
that
anyone.
luxury. Yeah.
Because that's how they create the matchups.
Yeah.
Right.
And look, McCarthy should know about this because remember he had the wide receiver turned running back. Montgomery,
Yeah.
right? The kid from Dallas,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yep.
And so he knows how that creates a problem. Plus, they put 84 on Patterson.
Mm-hmm.
So now you don't know. You think, oh, okay, got a wide receiver out there, right? But then he lines up at running back, or he starts at running back, and next thing he's out in the slot, and you got.
When you have a situation like this, and it does create a matchup problem, of course, the safest thing to do first is go zone.
It's really going to be confusing because they put 8 on Pitts, and so they're lining up a quarterback at.
Yeah.
That was a joke.
No, I'm with you. And I got some interesting stuff on Pitts.
Okay.
When
Can
we
they change number during the season?
During the game?
Yeah.
You just need to write another 88 on there, right?
All right, we continue with more Mick Shots in just a moment.
Yeah, we're going off the rails.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done,
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
and then let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Back to Mick Shots.
Download the official app of the Dallas Cowboys to get access to in-market game broadcast, mobile tickets, daily podcasts, live pregame and postgame shows, game updates, and more. Download the app or Google Play stores.
Did you hear my reads yesterday, Bill?
I listened.
See, he always dogs me.
I
about not listen to the show when I'm not here. Look at him.
I listened to the show late last night, And something came up. I didn't get to the first break. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh.
Since you didn't see it, I was flawless.
And
I bet you were.
And by the way,
I was flawless.
As promised, because the read we had yesterday was about the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders Star Magazine, 60 years.
Oh, yeah.
So here it is, right here in living color. And you can go
pink
to
on there, like the color scheme.
DallasCowboys.com/star to get yours today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
nice
very
and
nice.
Colorful. Like that scheme.
And there's it goes through the 60-year history because the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders began in 1961. And I tried to write the whole magazine, by the way.
Oh, yeah, we had to give Spags a plug because he's written articles for that magazine and hadn't got his payment yet.
Oh.
Yes.
Or I might have, and I missed it. Right?
It might have been so small, he didn't make a difference in his bank account.
So what types of articles did you write?
I've got
about your experiences when on the photo shoots when you went to
No.
To the headshot?
Island? This is history.
Well, that's part of history.
Did you hear about the first photo studio? Or the first potential photo studio? It was a head shop. It was a head shop. Come on, man.
He skipped
Come on,
to
man.
the middle of the story.
Yeah, man. This dude's got a head shop. He's in there selling weed and taking pictures of Farrah Fawcett.
The guy that came up with the Farrah Fawcett poster was some dude that was operating out of his garage.
What did I just say?
Running a
What did I
head
just
shop.
say?
But you sounded like it was the Dallas Cowboys poster. So I did a story on their first poster in 1977.
A Farrah Fawcett poster? I don't recall one.
You don't? Yeah, you had your whole bedroom
wall.
The
entire wall. You can see her freckles, maybe, a mole. Yeah, he can see it all with his big picture.
Very interesting stories.
So whose original idea was it to have the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders? Is that revealed?
The Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders poster?
No, the Dallas Cowboys
itself.
cheerleaders.
Yes.
Whose original idea was it?
Oh, I
assume it was Tex.
They had high school kids initially for the first 5, 6, 7 years.
So it was like a high school cheerleading squad.
And then the lady that was in charge of it, Dee Brock, after they went to the first Super Bowl,
1970,
and
January
she
71.
went to Tex and said, "Okay, I'm coordinating
Baltimore Colts.
I'm coordinating these cheerleaders, but I've got a bunch of high school kids." And I can't be babysitting them everywhere they go, and their parents are worried about. The first cheerleaders were sis boom ba, right? Pom poms and pleated skirts and sweaters, and so she came up with this idea that they needed to get dancers and have a performance out there. And Tex goes, "Okay, so do we need to get models to be able to do this?" And Dee told him, "No, models would not be able to do what we need to do because they're not physically enough to be able to do what the Dallas Cowboys
They can do runway."
So they had their first tryouts, and they picked the original 7, and from there it took off.
How many do they have now?
Usually somewhere around 35, 38.
That's a lot. So the go-go girls, they don't do that anymore?
The go-go girls?
They used to have go-girls. They were different types. They had the cheerleaders, then they had the girls that were up in the
rhythm and blue.
Rhythm and blue.
I thought they were the go-go girls.
Yeah, because they were up in a perch.
Yeah. That's what they look like. They were all up there. You look up there and like, oh, okay, the go-go girls.
There you go. That's good.
So they're also counted in, are they...
No, they're not part of the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders.
And how many years were you a judge of the tryouts?
I've probably done it for 10 years or so.
Okay.
You're a judge?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A judge of what?
Cheerleaders.
Cheerleader tryouts.
How do you qualify?
Okay, somebody asked me that question, and I've got a prepared answer.
What is it?
My prepared answer is I've been covering football for 40 years.
Okay.
I know what a cheerleader looks like.
Yeah, so do we. Yeah. Wow, dude, he's a judge.
My experience.
Bill, how did you let that get by me all these weeks, man? This is crazy.
I thought it was common knowledge.
It is not. No, I'm going to have to file.
So you were on CNT,
I'm filing
weren't you?
the petition.
I've been on CNT for silly comments I've made in our judging room.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
You've been on, you mean the show?
Yeah.
Oh, I started watching it then.
But I didn't do it this year.
Oh, okay.
Since COVID hit, they kind of changed.
Oh,
the
man.
judging went down.
So you'd have to go back in the archives.
YouTube,
Yeah, it's got to be in the archives.
I'm going to find you.
You probably just.
I am going to find you.
Probably
bro.
just search Mickey Spagnuolo. Mickey cheerleaders.
It'll be It'll be the top. The first topic. Something disastrous.
I'll give you my line that made
Mickey's
the show
mistake.
one year. There was a cheerleader or tryout from one of the ladies, young ladies, and she was in college, and she wasn't built like the cheerleaders you see, right? She was a little. She had muscular legs.
Yeah.
Great dancer, right? Great dancer, and. I was all for her, and the other judges were like, "Oh no,
They want more of a certain height, a certain build." Right.
And so my comment was, it's like I said, well, if she doesn't make that, the Cowboys need a fullback.
Shut up! You shut up! You know what?
It was a joke.
No,
that made it on the air.
I think they used it.
Yes,
Yes,
that's what's going to come up first, Bill. I promise.
That's right. Yeah.
Mickey Spagnuolo. There'd be comments made by Mickey Spagnuolo being sued in court.
Okay.
Go. Yeah. Please go
Okay. Where would you like to go?
No, go somewhere else. Yeah, we need to go somewhere else.
Kyle Pitts.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you
Football.
Do you remember? And I think you might have brought this up during the draft lead up. We talked about Kyle Pitts. People thought Cowboys needed a tight end. He went fourth to Atlanta, right? Mm-hmm. But Kyle Pitts and Micah Parsons met in the Pennsylvania 5A state championship game in 2016. Micah was just a junior, and Pitts' team, Archbishop Wood, beat him like 34-10. Pitts got a touchdown pass, but that year, Micah Parsons was still a running back. So he was playing running back for Harrisburg High and defensive end. And when I researched it, Micah Parsons, 37-10. But Micah Parsons was voted to the all-state team as a running back, and he was the most outstanding offensive player in the state that year for 5A. And he had that year in the playoffs. So say what do you think? 3-4 games playoffs?
Yes.
He averaged 8.95 yards a carry and had 10 touchdowns. 10 touchdowns in like 3 or 4 games. He was quite the high school, and it was the first time.
End?
And then he went to defensive end. Yeah.
I mean, so at defensive end, he didn't get any honors there?
I didn't get to the all-state defense team.
So he's we're talking running back.
And that was the year I believe he rushed for in regular season like 2,000 yards.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
And what state?
In Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
They play good football in Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Not like Texas,
but
yeah.
we'll give them a B. We'll give them a B plus.
So that was 5 years ago. It would have been 2016, December.
So this is
10th.
a payback game for Micah.
Yeah, he's got to get it right.
He's been digging in his craw for all these years.
Now, Pitts, by the way, looking at his year so far, 57 catches for 546 yards and 1 touchdown. He averages 15.2 yards a catch. So if we factor that out to 17 games, he's on pace for like 120 catches. What was
how many catches does he have?
57.
Wow.
What's
1,000 yards?
What was was it Gonzalez that had the record for tight ends?
Probably
for a single season. It was in the hundreds.
Yeah, it could be Antonio.
So check this out. Against the Jets, he had 9 catches for 119, 39 as a long. Against Miami, 7 for 163, 39 as a long. Against the Saints, only 3, but for 63 yards and 39 as a long. So they better stand 40 yards behind the field.
Mickey. He's got 36 catches.
36?
He's got 57 targets.
Oh, I wrote down the targets. Duh. Hopefully.
Chris, from now on, Chris, we're checking his stats. While you're in here talking to him before pre-shows, Chris, check his notes, please. Your reputation is at stake here as well, Mr. B. Jeez.
Hopefully,
that's a lot of targets, though.
Hopefully, when I wrote down the
the yards.
Zach Ertz has the record with 116.
Wow, really, Zach Ertz? That's impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
2018.
That looks like Mickey needs to regroup here.
We don't have time.
Why don't they
have time for all
Why
that,
do they put
man?
targets
Who
in
cares
there?
about targets?
You know who cares about targets? Your favorite people, fantasy football people, care about targets, Mickey.
All right.
It just doesn't bode well for this narrative.
I got the individual catches right.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Those were right.
There we go.
36.
Targets.
And so 8 games, and so he's on pace for like 75
yards.
75 catches.
Which is kind of pedestrian compared to where you had him.
That's just normal,
All right. We continue with more Mickey shenanigans in a moment.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with...
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done...
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
Back to Mick Shots.
Cowboy fans, join the NFL in supporting our nation's service members by wearing the latest Dallas Cowboys Salute to Service gear. Visit your local Dallas Cowboys Pro Shop or shop.dallascowboys.com. A fanatic's experience to find the full assortment of Salute to Service gear.
Let me have that, man. Make sure. We got to check your stuff. Let me have it. we got to make sure.
We can't believe anything he says now.
Anything Mickey says anymore.
The type's bigger.
That's
I can read it.
So, Mickey, what would you like to target in this segment?
Whoa, let's target.
No. Before we move on, that reminds me of when I had the interception record. You remember on Pro Football Reference? Was it Don Bishop?
This guy's got 8 interceptions.
He had
13 interceptions, 13 games.
I
can't believe this. We keep on going. That's 20 interceptions in 20 games.
25 straight games. Why has no one said anything about this guy?
We got the Bishop family like, oh my goodness,
he was better than I thought he was.
Amazing,
yeah.
yes.
Then it come to find out, Pro Football Reference only put games down that you had stats in. That he had interceptions in.
So did you see how much money Carolina had to guarantee?
There it is, top of my page.
Cam Newton.
10 mil.
Well, up to.
The
guarantee was $4.5 million with a $1.5 million roster bonus. So I think the roster bonus probably had to do with games played. You get so much per game, up to 150.
They're all in already.
But $4.5 million guaranteed.
That's all in already for half a season.
And they only need, that's what I was going to say, a half a season.
Come on, man, they're all in on him.
But you got to think that they are thinking beyond a half a season.
Well, Sam Darnold.
They don't have
what I believe.
Sam Darnold's out 4 to 6
Yeah.
weeks with a fractured scapula.
And it's not just the scapula and all of that. He was playing horribly.
Yeah,
I mean, he was going downhill ever since the
Cowboys
game. Yes,
they're taking a flyer on Newton recapturing what he had there once upon a time.
The comfort zone, right? Just being in a environment that he is familiar to. Let's just see how it works out.
So, how comfortable are you with Hairuluha kicking for the Cowboys?
Well, all I want is for him to kick the ball through the end zone.
Make sure Patterson doesn't return any.
Cordero Patterson, who is tied for the NFL's all-time record with 8 kickoff returns for touchdowns in his career.
Good tidbit.
See how many he's done unless they got targets on here.
One last year, one the year before, I think, is what I saw.
So kickoff returns, he's had 14 for 332. He averages 23.7.
I can take that.
His long is 32.
We can take all of that.
So
this year, not so impressive. But all it takes is one.
Yeah.
That's right. And now all of a sudden you're averaging 30.
Like the 109 one he did against the Packers, I believe, that McCarthy
pointed out. Who takes that out? I mean, who brings that out, right?
Devin Hester or Cordero.
Right.
Obviously.
Somebody doesn't have a conscience.
I love it. That's what they used to say about us. Shoot, I love that.
So the reason they pick Lirim, right? Lirim.
Hallelujah. Lirim, hallelujah.
Yeah, hallelujah. That's good. In the kickoff, and they did it indoors yesterday, he was 12 of 12, I'm told.
Really?
On
field goals.
Field goals, okay.
Yes.
How far? Well,
none
of them are closer than none of them are closer than an extra point.
I would imagine,
and that's what we're worried about.
Yeah,
now extra
just
points
make
now
the
being
extra
30
points,
plus
right?
yards.
Now today they had what I'm told an extended field goal period outdoors, and I don't know if he kicked like eight. Maybe he missed a couple. He missed a couple. So,
but we're not kicking outdoors, Bill.
The wind was playing with the ball.
Yeah, we're not kicking
outdoors.
That's
right. That's true.
No, don't worry about that.
So, indoors. So we'll see. Mm-hmm. They're going to keep an eye on him. I guess there's a Hail Mary chance that Zerline
he would have
back in time.
to have 2 negative tests before Sunday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because he's been vaccinated.
So he could come back.
He could.
For the game.
And what they did was a very savvy move. They signed Hairuluha to the practice squad. And then you get an elevation for COVID reserve. So they don't have to put him on the 53-man roster. They can just elevate him for the game.
When do they have to make that decision?
I think Saturday.
Okay.
So, so they would know at
Speaking
that point.
of, is Aaron Rodgers playing this
I just saw he cleared.
He cleared.
Before I came
so
down,
protocol
I think I saw a headline
directs that he should play.
That he should play, but he'll be $14,000
light,
$800 light.
Is he able to return to practice yet? Was his 10 days up?
I didn't read
because I thought Saturday.
I just saw the headline
because I thought Saturday was the day that he could return.
Look up like NFL.com or ESPN.com. They had a headline.
I thought there was a possibility that he could miss 2 games.
I loved CeeDee Lamb's comment yesterday about his fines for, his jersey being untucked.
He's like the most fine person
right?
so far. Yeah.
And he pointed out that my jersey was untucked, but this guy got COVID and he wasn't vaccinated.
And he lied.
Yeah. And he got fined the same thing as my jersey. He said my jerseys didn't get anybody in trouble.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
We used to have that problem all the time.
NFL.
I hated the.
Well, your teammate now is the Inspector
Can
General.
you believe that?
Tony Hill.
Tony Hill was the worst. He was one of those guys that I patterned my uniform after. You got to cut the jersey because it's way too long, and if you tuck it in, you kind of feel like you're restricted as you go through the plays and all of that stuff. So you're definitely going to cut it off, and you want it to come out as the game goes on. Because, first of all, it looks better. We want to look cool. No, that's one thing. You got your spat down, so you got your tape on. You have your towel. Now they're worried about your socks. So now then they worry about your knees, so they want your knee pads. Nobody wears knee pads. Going back to 1980.
They slow you down, right?
That's right. And if you get hit in your knees, then you got a problem anyway. That means you're not alert, especially as a defensive back. No one hits a defensive back's knees because he should always be in a position to where his hands would protect himself. So I never worried about that. Hip pads as well. Now, that's a problem. I got a hip pad problem one time. I didn't have the hip pad in. I got a hip pointer, and they had to let the blood out because it is swollen up. And they said if I wasn't able to play, I was going to get fined because they knew
you didn't have your hip pads in?
Yeah.
Good thing they weren't doing that when Cornell Green was a rookie and he had them in backwards.
Wow, really?
Oh, you didn't hear my
basketball
story?
player.
No.
He was a basketball player, never played football.
Yeah.
And he had them in backwards, and one day he started complaining. Bob Lilly told the story. Like, I don't know if he went to Lilly or what. He goes, I'm getting all scratched up here, and
it's pinching him.
And I'm slowing down, and he goes, well, what's the problem? He goes, I don't know. These hip pads are bothering me. And he had them ass backwards.
Well, just think if he had the thigh pads backwards.
Yeah.
That would be really a problem.
Yeah.
Then you'd be pinching some things.
Why is it that I can't find Aaron Rodgers' story on ESPN or It's like buried. Everyone's got opinion pieces rather than
on it. But
rather than an actual
play.
story. Yeah.
It just the headline I saw said he would be eligible to play on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as long as he clears by Saturday, they're going to play him.
I saw some people that were, banking on him being back on some of the sports shows today, and they spoke of it as if it's a foregone conclusion that he would play.
He doesn't need to practice.
Yeah,
right?
And that's what they said. He didn't need to practice.
Well, the Cowboys would have done the same thing with Dak if he was ready
It's
to go.
so funny how,
practice.
and we talked about, the difference between how they look at the Cowboys when we lose versus all those other teams that lost on Sunday. I didn't hear anybody today talking about how Buffalo had better win coming up because they did this and they did that. But with the Cowboys, like, if the Cowboys don't win this game, boy, I tell you, it's going to be what? They're going to be what?
You know what I had to do to find it? I had to do a search, Aaron Rodgers eligible Saturday, and I found the story. Yeah, he's eligible to return to the team on Saturday once he completes his 10-day quarantine.
So there you go.
So.
And Bill missed, since he didn't listen to the host show, this big
Bill didn't listen to
brouhaha about the Cowboys. The Cowboys.
You know, I had a show yesterday.
It was awfully good, too.
It really was, man. I got a lot to say.
I don't think we ever
finally got a word in edgewise.
We talked about everybody still criticizing the Cowboys for playing Dak to the end of the game, right? And so I looked up, and guess what Denver did? They didn't pull their defensive guys
Not
out.
once.
They played till
All
the
of
end
them.
of the game.
100%.
7 guys played
90%.
at least 90%
Yeah.
of the snaps, including Justin Simmons, played 100%. So they didn't back off.
You know the DC wasn't going to back off.
No.
They wanted that shutout.
Yeah. He wanted the shutout. He did.
But he wasn't sitting there going, I might get a guy hurt, and then he's not going to be able to play. Had them all in there.
Well, we don't have time to get into it because we're past time right now.
Did you have another point that you wanted
Well,
to
we
make?
can talk about it tomorrow.
No,
Why?
we talked
He's
about
gonna
it yesterday.
tease us.
We can, but I got an
He's
opinion
gonna tease
about keeping Dak in the game.
Can you do it in a minute?
No,
I don't want to hear it because I want him to
What
expound.
side were you on?
I like him to stay in.
Oh, that
I
was
put it like
okay.
this.
And
I
me
don't
too.
mind him
Me
staying
too.
in.
And the reason is, in this case, In fact, I told David Moore, we did a little segment, I said, I wish McCarthy, when it came up, I wish McCarthy would have said, did you watch the game? I think we needed some work.
There you go.
Know? But I think when you look at a quarter, I think I underestimate sometimes how much goes into the meticulous, yes, all of that stuff. And he missed a full 2+ weeks of work, and which probably factored into the fact that he wasn't sharp in that game. And so this was, you're running 2-minute offense, okay? He can get rid of the football if someone's about to tackle him, whatever. It's a relatively safe environment for him to work on his timing and everything. And so you look at it as it's practice time.
Let's just be real. Some people on these shows, they don't have an idea or clue what the hell they're talking about. And just because they're on TV and they talk loud, that does not mean that they're correct.
Well, one of the things that happens, too, is that when the network announcers mention something in a game, then it becomes the narrative of the following week. And so all it takes is an analyst or play-by-play guy saying, I'm not sure why he's even in the game right now. And then especially when your team has just lost, it becomes the narrative the next week.
And that analyst,
but I didn't have any problem with
I'm
him
sure
saying
that former player has been in a position to where he shouldn't have had his butt in the game doing a blowout, but yet he was out there playing as well, and nothing happened.
And the other part of it is, in the NFL, there's not very – now, you do have a backup with Dak, but there are some positions you don't have a lot in the way of backups to put in the game, too. I mean, you can't rest everybody.
Couldn't put a backup offensive line in, right?
That's
you
right.
only got 8 guys eligible. Somebody – it's like, how come I had to play?
I'd love for that to come back around and benefit the Cowboys because, those are the only were those the only 4th down plays we made?
By the way, have we
third maybe?
Third.
have we? By the way, have we talked about Dak's injury this week?
I knew we have
not. We have not.
Okay,
No.
And why? Because he showed in the last 6 minutes of that game, the calf injury is good to go.
He's good.
Okay. Now, had he come out of the game, we'd probably be talking about his calf injury.
His calf is still bothering him.
They were worried.
So they got shut out in the game. Mm-hmm. Okay. So anyway, all right.
There you go. Good job.
Okay.
Got that right. Now we're going to have to come up with something tomorrow to talk about.
And we appreciate our corporate sponsor for this edition of Mix Shots. You know who that would be?
SWBC Podcast Studio.
We do, and Target. And we will talk at you tomorrow here on Mix Shots.
Go
where
Cowboys.
Mickey will talk more about how many targets the other team has.
Go Cowboys.
Very good.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!